This changed my life, and maybe it can change yours. Sit down, get cozy, grab a cup of tea. We are going to talk about acceptance and commitment therapy and what you can learn from it. Welcome to my second video on here. I'm Muri. I'm doing my master's in psychology and decided to start a YouTube channel talking about all that, but also make it creative, talk about life and stuff. I hope you enjoy. Acceptance and commitment therapy. Why do I want to talk about that? Recently, or more like a couple months ago, I had a seminar in university talking about acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT in short, and about its core goal, psychological flexibility. And I really liked that concept. Not at first, I was very skeptical, but the more I learned, the more it grew on me. I will explain what that means. But before that, imagine you are seeing someone running, but you cannot see any other context. What would you think that person is running for? Exactly. Or not. I don't know what you said. Maybe they are running to exercise, or maybe they are running because they're late. Maybe they are running away from something. But the point is, all of these things are assumptions we make towards the person that is running, because that's all we see. All these reasons for running look exactly the same from the outside, but to the person that is running, all these things feel completely different. Think about it. Running away or towards something, these two reasons feel like they are worlds apart for us, and yet all we are doing is running. In acceptance and commitment therapy, we want to determine what exactly we are running for and what kind of running is better for us. I know that I can spend endless time scrolling on social media, eating food that is bad for me even when I'm not hungry, watching TV and just rotting away some days. And what I often don't realize is in these moments, on the outside, it looks like I'm relaxing, like I'm without a worry, no pressure at all. But on the inside, I'm running away from the things that make me feel bad, like pressure or expectations or my own lack of self-confidence and any other kinds of bad thoughts and feelings. Now, how different would it be if I watched TV for actual relaxation or ate out of hunger? Or even pleasure? Let's look at this continuum. Here we have a line with one end representing the things we want to run away from and the other the things we run towards. And you are here, just in the middle. I want you to do a little task, one that promotes awareness. Think about the things that make you feel uneasy, problems you don't like to face. For example, for me, it can be very simple things like boring tasks, but also deep and existential things like a fear of abandonment or not believing in myself. Let's write that under the line on the away side. You can pause the video to work along if you want. Right above that, I want you to ask yourself, how do I cope? What does it look like when I'm running away from these problems? What can other people see me doing when I'm running away? For me, for example, it's constant reassurance. I keep asking people,
hey, are you mad at me? Are we good? Do you actually love me? Would you love me if I was a worm?
You know, another thing I tend to do, especially with the thought of not believing in myself, I really want to do something, but I just don't do it. Or I start and I don't finish it. Another thing is procrastination. I procrastinated starting this YouTube channel for 10 months. Or the most common thing you will see me do when I am avoiding my problems is scrolling on social media. These are most of the time dysfunctional coping mechanisms. Though not always is the avoidance of bad feelings something negative, often it is. There are many times where we need to run away from something, and that's okay. But in my case, for example, these strategies that I have, they do more harm than good. Constant reassurance can be annoying to people, and it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, if I keep asking,
hey, am I annoying you? Am I annoying you? Am I annoying you?
You know, at some point it does get annoying. Not starting or finishing something just reinforces that negative belief that I can't do it. I'm not giving myself the chance to prove myself wrong. Social media is giving me horrible brain rot and makes me feel horrible afterwards. And I still do it all the time. And procrastination is such a complex topic. that I will touch on it in another video. But in short, it mostly sucks. So I end up running in a spiral, away and away, causing more problems along the way. Let's look on the other side, the towards side, the side of our values. Down here, write down what and who is important to you. The order of the things you write down don't matter. Again, you can pause the video if you wanna work along. These are some of mine. Family, friends, partner. You can write the full name of the people. I just didn't want to do that here on YouTube. And things that are important to me are things like creativity, love, security, justice, health. And now, what would that look like if I would live according to these values? What can other people see me do when I am actually thinking about these things that are important to me and acting upon these things that are important to me? For me, it's making YouTube videos, for example, meeting friends, even doing work for university, which is one of the things I tend to run away from most of the time. But long term, it would be good for me. Keeping up with and speaking out on human rights, drawing, writing, trying out new things, traveling, exercising, and so on. Now, I don't really do all of these things normally. Often I am stuck in my away moves, but I am trying to learn to follow the path of my desired life, the towards moves. So what we drew here is called the ACT matrix. It serves to clarify our behavior, to make us recognize what are the things we do when we want to move away from something or when we're moving towards something. In acceptance and commitment therapy, we want to have this awareness so we can make a conscious choice about our actions, so we can decide in what direction we want to move. And in general, we want to create more towards moves than away moves. Let's clear the view again. And again, look at acceptance and commitment therapy. As you can see, it is made out of two components, acceptance and commitment. The acceptance of the things we cannot change, of the things we often try to move away from in dysfunctional ways, in contrast to the commitment to our own values, the things we want to move towards.
Serenity.
Serenity. Thank you, Google. Oh God, give us the serenity to accept what cannot be changed, the courage to change what can be changed, and the wisdom to know the one from the other. This is the Serenity Prayer, published in the 50s by theologian Reinhold Niebuhr. I don't know, I'm going to say it in German. Reinhold Niebuhr, but he's American. Anyways, it does a pretty good job of describing the core aspect of acceptance and commitment therapy. So on one side, we have acceptance of the things we cannot change. That means allowing negative, unpleasant feelings or thoughts or sensations just to be there without bending and breaking to try to change them or avoid them. And the goal is to stop fighting or resisting these difficult experiences and to make room for them. And on the towards side, committed action, taking concrete steps towards living in alignment with your values, even when it is difficult. The goal here is to make real and meaningful changes to our lives through intentional, value-based action. But that is not all there is. The concept of psychological flexibility, the ability to take control and choose your moves in ACT, is reached through 6 components, and acceptance and committed action are 2 of them. But as I talked about earlier, to be able to accept and commit in the first place, we have to be aware of ourselves. We need to be right here, right now, in the present moment. So right between away and towards lays the presence, the present moment. It's about being aware and fully engaged in the present moment, rather than being stuck in the past or the future. The goal is to focus on the here and now, which helps in breaking away automatic reactions that we often have. I mean, we have filled out the ACT matrix together, and my automatic reaction to many negative things is scrolling on social media, for example. Awareness in the present moment would help me to break that, to realize what I'm doing right now. And it's the first step to choose not to do it. An example of things you can do for that is paying attention to your surroundings, body sensations, or your breath when feeling stressed. So now we have 3 components. Let's start with the middle, the awareness. Because one big step that is also deeply important for being conscious is not just the awareness of the present moment, but also the view of the self as context. What is it? It's seeing yourself as more than just your thoughts and feelings. It's the perspective that you are the observer of your experiences, not the experience itself. I know it's kind of hard to grasp, at least for me it was, but the goal here is to help you gain a sense of self that is stable and non-judgmental, even when your thoughts and feelings change. So for example, it's realizing that I am experiencing sadness right now, instead of identifying with it as I am sad. I am sad internalizes it so much more and gives it control over you, whereas you yourself are much more than that feeling. One metaphor that often comes up in this context is the chessboard metaphor, one that I also talk about in my book, A Bunch of Fluffy Feelings. Now I want you to close your eyes and imagine. You are seeing a chessboard, two armies lined up in front of you. On one side, the pieces representing your fears, your doubts, your painful moments. On the other side, the pieces of your hopes, your confidence, your joy. The bad side makes a move, advances anxiety, pushes insecurity. You feel the urge to fight back, move your good pieces, fight every negative thought with something positive. Yet no matter how many moves one makes, the game is never over. You're stuck within this battle, a battle of good and bad, of comfort and discomfort, of hope and despair, the figures fighting for life and death. Pretty exhausting, isn't it? But as your energy starts running low, you realize you are neither side in this game. You are not the good pieces fighting for control, nor the bad ones dragging you down. You're the board itself. The pieces change and shift, yet you are not moved. You contain both sides while not being part of the fight. You take a deep breath in, stepping back from the struggle. The game goes on, but now you see it. You are detached from the outcome because you know it doesn't define you. You can open your eyes now. How do you feel hearing this story? Does it resonate with you? For me, it took a while to truly understand and internalize it. I had trouble to view myself in this abstract way, because if not my thoughts and feelings, then who am I? But the self as context means to view oneself as a neutral being, as the baby you were born as, whole and complete, no flaws, no virtues, just the soul in its purest form of existence. To me, this was the hardest concept to grasp, but also one of the most valuable. Now let's move to the away side. So we already have the acceptance of thoughts, feelings, and experiences on the away side, but sometimes it's really hard to accept something that we are fully immersed in. Emotions that feel very deep and strong. Like, how can I accept that? How can I accept feeling so desperate and sad and angry, for example? Or on the other hand, when we have negative thoughts that feel like the truth to us, when a little voice in our head tells us, yeah, well, don't even start, you can't do it, then how can I accept that? How can I accept, okay, that I can't do it? But the point here is that you're not supposed to accept that this thought is the truth. You're supposed to accept that the thought exists. That's where we come to the next component, diffusion. It's learning to step back from your thoughts rather than getting caught up in them. It's to see your thoughts as what it is, just thoughts, not as truths or facts that control your behavior. For example, instead of believing I am a failure, you can see it as I am having the thought that I am a failure. That creates distance to it. It makes me believe it a little less. One great way of doing that is speaking your negative thoughts out loud in a silly voice or straight up talking to them. Like if the little voice says nobody loves you, okay, but have you considered that maybe nobody loves you? Just saying, it creates distance immediately. That voice sucks. Easy. Just experiment with the ways that help you create distance to your own thoughts. Something that takes away their power over you and help you view them with a critical eye. The last of the components here on the towards side is a very vital one, and it's one we have already talked about in the beginning of the video. It is values, our orientations in life. Contrary to goals, values have no ending point. They are merely the paths that we lead in our lives, and they are flexible. Not every value you have right now will be the same in a year or two. You choose what is important to you in your life at every moment. A value is something that I wake up and choose every day. And from your values, you can create goals. For example, I value health and I feel like I have been neglecting it a lot. And for a long, long time, I can ask myself, what goals can I set that can help me get back on this path, that can help me follow this value? Starting small, I can tell myself, okay, this week I am going to the gym once. It's a very clear and achievable goal that I set myself. And just by doing that, I am already moving towards this value. It doesn't have to be something that you obsess about. It doesn't have to be something that has to be perfect all the time. It just means that you try your best to move towards it. If after going to the gym this week, I rode away for 2 weeks again, that doesn't mean that this value is gone. It doesn't mean that I failed. That just means that the week after I can try again to follow this value. It's just important that you make yourself clear about what you want in life. What is a life worth living to you? These 6 components can help us reach psychological flexibility, or better, choose the path of psychological flexibility. It's the ability to adapt to different situations, stay present, and take action guided by your values, even when facing difficult thoughts or emotions or obstacles in the way. The goal is to live a meaningful life by being open to experiences and taking value-driven actions despite discomfort. It allows for better mental health and well-being because you can respond to life's challenges more effectively. To summarize, we have 2 movements we can take: away and towards. And we want to create the psychological flexibility to be able to choose our movements. We have 6 components that help us with that. The ones that help us be more open, diffusion and acceptance. The ones that help us be conscious, the present moment and the self as context. And the ones that help us be committed, our values and committed action. We want to accept our struggles and pain that we cannot change while still moving forward, creating a life worth living, no matter the obstacles that get in our way. I hope you learned a little something. If you want to read a cute story showing ACT in action, check out my book, A Bunch of Fluffy Feelings. I will share a link in the description below. Tell me in the comments what has resonated with you and what might still be hard to grasp. I can always make more videos going in depth. You can also check out my last video. It was about the benefits of writing, and I'd be happy if you leave a like or maybe, possibly even subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And now the editing. The goal here is to make real, meaningful changes. There's a bug. Read A Bunch of Fluffy Feelings.